guest host tonight, Lee Ivory, filling in for the lovely and esteemed Alma Gill, who's out having fun, no doubt. And but we're going to try to have a little bit of fun here too. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. We're going to try to have a good time and at the same time dispense some wisdom, some valuable advice. Happy Tuesday! Shout out to and prayers to all the people in the Gulf Coast states who are suffering from the effects of Hurricane Ida. I talked to my friends in New Orleans today, and they're in good stead, but they got a ways to go. Hey, let's bring our panel in here. We got some really, really heavy hitters here tonight. Oh, we got D. Comma G's. Hey, D.
Hey, Lee. How are you?
Hailing from New Jersey, huh?
This feels like the 6 degrees of Lee Ivory.
Very good, very good. We got the lovely Lori Grant.
Hey, y'all.
And last but not least, the brilliant, the beautiful Sharon Jones Evans, ladies and gentlemen. Sharon, so we've done this a few times with Alma. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I went to college with Lee, folks. For those that don't know,
I told y'all I went to college. See,
you saw him. You saw him go to class and all of that.
Look, I didn't say anything by class. Basketball court, dance hall, spinning records. He was doing all of that. But anyway, we've been friends for 100 years now. So I've been married for 29 years, and I am a doggy mom, and that's the only child I got that I claim.
Oh, Oscar.
Okay.
So Sharon, you have
stories.
I do have stories. I have black male stories. And depending on how much money y'all got, we'll see if I can release any of them.
We have to shout out Alma's family because they come deep. So I see Gail so far. Hi, Gail.
Yeah, hey, Gail.
I'm sure they'll be popping in one by one.
Coming Jocelyn. JJ. We went to college with Jocelyn and Manisha, one of our faithful readers, who's also one of our VVRs too.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Hey, Manisha.
We're getting everybody involved tonight. And,
all right.
Hey,
hi, Javon. It is Pat. Welcome.
There we go, Pat.
Pat.
We knew it, Pat. We were counting on you.
Yeah, we were just talking about you, Patricia, and your wonderful meals and your lovely house and all that. So you were called the hostess with the mostest. Very good. So real quick, current events. What's happening? President, big address today. What'd you think?
I'm with him on this.
You with him on it, huh?
I'm riding with him on it.
We needed to go, right? And there's no good time to leave.
It was going to be messy no matter when.
Yes.
I'm just very disappointed that all of a sudden we've lost control of the country. Yeah. They probably kept some disturbance from happening on our side here in the United States, but it was time to go.
Yeah. The only real disappointment for me was we kind of lost control of that airport. You know what I mean? I expected us to be a little bit tougher in terms of the perimeter and all that, but when you're in somebody else's house, you can do only do what you can do.
Right.
R. Kelly, the trial. Y'all been following this?
No, we're not having this conversation.
Oh my
no.
No,
we got other issues.
No, talking about sipping some tea, boy.
No, we're not spilling tea about R. Kelly. We do want to say hi to Mary Lou, who's always here as well. Hi, Mary Lou.
Hey, Mary Lou.
She said 20 years it's 20 time.
I know, right? Absolutely. And on the other big news today is for football fans, Cam Newton cut by the New England Patriots and to make way for the rookie out of Alabama, Mac Jones. The internet is buzzing.
So it's my understanding that he got cut because he wouldn't get vaccinated. Is that what I'm hearing?
No, okay. That's not the whole thing.
I I
Renee
worked
Bradford.
today.
Yes, Dawn Sharon saying hello to you.
Hey,
Yeah.
Renee.
Yeah, that's a little too clean, but this is going to be the season starts, I think, in 9 days, and this should be a really exciting season. Hopefully, COVID is not going to shut it down. But the NFL ain't playing, boy. You know, they really want these cats to get vaccinated, and some of them are pushing back, which is, you know, in my opinion, pretty stupid. But we shall see. So one thing we do want to get out of the way, though, is that you know, this is for entertainment purposes only. You know, none of us is a psychologist or a psychiatrist. You know, we're doing the best
Although we
we
play one on
Sociologist.
Oh,
TV,
no, although
right?
we play one,
On
we all
TV.
stayed up watching the game last night, right?
I'm sure you've listened to a lot of stories, Lee Ivory.
Oh my goodness!
Help me.
I know, you know what I mean. But anyway, we'll like I said, we'll just try to have a little fun here. So without further ado, why don't we just jump into it? I think our first VVR tonight is Manisha.
Alma, really? Lee Ivory, guest host? Is this the best you could do? There goes the ratings. Good luck. I hope you're on the same time next week. If not, chalk it up to Lee Ivory.
The sweet daddy. The sweet daddy.
Nice. Very nice.
Yes. Have we talked to him? Is he and his family okay down in the Sunshine State?
No,
They're doing okay?
I have not talked to Robert. I'll call him after the broadcast here today.
Okay.
And see how they do. But I think they're out of harm's way.
So we're going to have to work hard to keep the ratings up. Is that what he's saying?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a nice surprise.
I know. That was all right. The sweet daddy.
Yes.
Very good. All right. Well, let's get into it here. Our first VBR.
Volunteer video reader. Here's the question. Some friends got married recently. We all have been very happy for them since he's had a series of failed romances. Jim is what you might call an overshare on Facebook, and we know his dating history. Likewise, we've heard everything about his courtship and their wedding plans. They got married last weekend in what looks to have been a small outdoor COVID ceremony, according to the photos he's posted, and he's posted a lot of photos. I'm not in Jim's inner circle, so I can understand not being invited. But he's also mentioned a big party for all our other friends that's coming up soon. I haven't been invited to that either, and I feel that I know him well enough that I should have been included. I'm feeling just a little frosted about it, to be honest. Now some of us are asking each other, were you invited to the party? Are you going? And feelings are starting to be hurt. It's no surprise given that he overshares, but I don't think he realizes the impact his posts have had. Any thoughts?
Well. Thank you, Manisha, for that. Well. I know, right? So to recap, we have a guy who overshares on Facebook. So pretty much every facet of his life is there for public consumption. But they got married, and some people weren't invited, and so now they're planning another big party, and some people are not going to be invited. So, what do you think about that? Should these people mind their own business? Are they right to feel hurt?
Well, I think it's a little difficult to mind your own business if you overshare everything.
Right, I know, right?
But for me, the 2018 me might have been disappointed and upset that I wasn't invited.
Yeah,
but the 2021 me would be so grateful that I would not have to say no. I don't want to be around your 60 friends under these circumstances. So I'd be like, woo woo.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, Weddings are, first of all, weddings are expensive, and having planned one, I know how difficult that is when you start to get into invitations and things like that. So, if it's a big open party, then yeah, I might be a little disappointed. But if it's, something small and expensive,
Yeah.
Just not invited.
Yeah. What do you think, Miss Grant?
I agree with Dee on the COVID aspects that if you got a lot of folks coming, I'm not going to fight you about this one. But I still might feel some kind of way I didn't get a chance to reject the invitation if I think that
Right.
we're good friends.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so
Right.
apparently this person thinks, we've helped Jim along with dating and all these other things. So he thinks he's in the loop. And he could very well be. More than likely, he is in the loop. We have to
Mhm.
understand we don't have to be invited to everything to be considered your good friend or not your good friend. Sometimes people appreciate who else is coming and rightly or wrongly make
Right.
the judgment that I'm going to invite so and so because they're going to get along with so and this is
Right.
going to be a blast. And so you try to match. That's not necessarily the way to go, but people do that. Got to understand that.
Right.
And to Dee's very strong point, weddings, that's about counting plates. And, because the reception is COVID, no COVID, you're talking a couple of $100 per plate. So that list is always a very tailored
Mm-hmm.
list. So the
Mhm.
wedding, I give them a pass. The other little party, count it off as a super spreader. Keep moving.
All right. Last but not least, Sharon Jones Evans.
Well, if in the letter she says I'm not in the inner circle.
Right.
So when it comes to cost and COVID and whatnot, maybe that's why the list is a little more
Mm-hmm.
trimmed and this person wasn't added. But seeing as how said person is an oversharer, maybe if she's feeling like, well, hey, maybe I can snag one of those RSVPs that turned into a no. Maybe she could say, John, it looks like the planning for the party is going great. I hope everybody has a good time. Just kind of do a little subtle,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
hey, I'm available, I'm free, I want to come,
I mean, it potentially could be, Sharon, it could be an oversight. It could be that he meant to invite
Can't
her
leave
or
that
did
out.
invite her and she missed it, or there's a number of reasons why she might not be included.
Yeah, it could be that the bride got 40 people, he got 20, and she's just not in the 20.
Right.
But
Right.
you know what? I think that all of you are right, of course. But I also think that that you're right about this time that we're in. COVID has changed the game for just about
Mm-hmm.
everything, and there's a lot of stuff that I want to go to, and a lot of people that I want to see that I haven't seen for a long time.
Agreed.
But quite
Mm-hmm.
frankly, I just ain't feeling it, And some folks better than others, and so it would be awkward if you went and they tried to put the hugs on you
Right.
and
He's like,
you're like, oh.
This environment gives new meaning to who else coming.
I, this is
You
true.
know.
I ran into somebody at Walmart one day out here, and great friends. And so the wife was really seriously trying to give me a hug, and I was like, hey, what's up? And she was like, boy, you better come here. And I was like, yeah, what's up? And the next time I saw her, she told everybody, she's like, I was trying to hug him and he wouldn't hug him. I'm like, nah, we good,
Yes. She's like, put
But
that elbow. Boom.
There
yeah,
it
but
is.
it's
Give the
changed.
Wakanda salute. Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, back up on me.
But
I tell you something else I saw on Facebook the other day was a couple had gotten an invoice for an
Yes.
RSVP. They said yes, it was a destination wedding, and then they didn't show up. So the wedding bride and groom sent them, well, it was $120 a plate, so y'all owe us $240. So you got a little of that kind of thing going on
I
as
did
well.
see
But
that. Yeah,
it's
I did.
as mentioned earlier, weddings are expensive, and you want to serve something nice and have something nice, but you also want people to show up.
Right.
So that's why I was thinking maybe she could go to Mr. Oversharer and say, looks like a good time. It's going to be had at your party. And,
Y'all
maybe she could
enjoy.
get a resurgence. Yeah.
Well,
She just might get an invite.
You all know my former husband, and he joked about sending people bills for
Like
people.
Jerry.
It's one thing to say no, I can't come. It's something else to say I'm coming and then not show up, because that could be potentially a large chunk of money. So we laughed about that couple sending out the invoice, but I had to restrain him from,
from doing the same thing. Yeah.
right.
Terry
But
said,
my
"Oh,
friend Terry said,
keep
keep my gift money.
your gift money."
Good advice, Terry.
I think she should just ask. I think Sharon, hit the nail on the head. She should just, ask if perhaps she missed her invitation, or if there's a place where if she really wants to go. Quite frankly, I'd be happy not to.
But doesn't that put the person on the spot to say, either that person now has to say, no, you didn't miss it, or just be honest and say, because of COVID. There's an out for both of them. If she doesn't want to go because of COVID, and the person who didn't invite could use the same excuse. Because of COVID, we've really trimmed the list, so that we don't blah, 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 blah. Easy answers.
Come to the anniversary party in 5 years.
Right.
You dig that, right?
Absolutely.
I had an invite the other night, actually not too far from where you live, Lori. And first thing I did, I was like, so who's going to be there? And,
did you really?
Yeah. And so it was, I wasn't like, who's going to be there? I wasn't like that. I was like, oh, yeah, so yeah, who's going to be there? And so
casually.
Yeah, the list got a little long for me. It got a little long for me. And I was like, well, okay, all right. I got a few things I got to do, but, I'm gonna try to, and so, and we said we're going to try to do something.
That's it. I'm going to try to get by.
I mean, we ain't showing up,
Well, the letter writer could also say, well, I'm, looking forward to seeing the pictures. I know you've got to have a tighter group because of COVID. That could be another way that you can kind of say, well, I wasn't invited. And he could say, oh, shoots, we forgot you. Or,
oh, you're not coming? We expected you to be there.
Come to the anniversary.
You need to write a book on how to get the dirt you need.
Right.
Teach us all how to do that. Right.
I will make sure pictures get to you.
Yes, absolutely.
If we're good buddies, then I do understand the person being upset. I really do understand the person who wasn't invited being upset, because this is, I thought, we were in good, and you are in good. It's a wedding. You need to figure out if you're in good with the spouse. And who's exactly cutting and trimming this list here? So,
well, if you're that close, you're not relying on Facebook to let you know about the event anyway. When he says, my sister tried to use that "who gonna be there" excuse, but it didn't work on me. I know, right? My event list is
Juanita does not play. Juanita's not here to play.
She does not play. I don't blame her. So. Well, anyway, so, okay, I think we got consensus on that one. So let's check out our next VVR.
Hello, I'm Kim, and I am this week's VVR. This week's letter reads, Dear Alma, help us please. Without boring you with the long details, my sister asked if her daughter could stay with us during the summer. We said yes. We have a large house and, quite frankly, thought it would be a no-brainer. Wrong. OMG. This not-so-young woman, she's 24, has an odor so strong and rancid you can't breathe. I don't understand why she can't smell herself. It's so strong when she walks past you, the ghastly smell lingers. And she has a boyfriend. I'm sure he can smell her, but clearly they haven't discussed it. She's planning to leave shortly and will return to finish her senior year of college. We're planning to burn the mattress and fumigate the bedroom.
Oh my goodness.
Here are my questions. Should I talk to my niece about her odor? And if so, how do I broach the subject? Do you think I should mention it to my sister? Thanks, Alma, and I love your show, by the way.
Thank you, Kim. Oh my goodness. Oh, I think the switchboard's go blow up now.
Why would she wait till the end of the summer to have this conversation? That conversation should have happened the day she showed up.
Oh man. So this is crazy.
Wow.
So quick recap. niece is staying with the aunt, and I assume her family during the summer. And turns out that niece is fucking in the mosquito's tweeter, and she's trying. She's trying. That's old Southern saying, okay. And so she's trying to decide how to deal with this, whether it's to spray her with some Lysol. Tracy,
Yeah,
you ain't
Tracy.
right. You ain't right.
I can see Tracy spraying her too.
I know. So, should she talk to the niece about her old dare, and or should she mention it to her sister, the girl's mama? What do you think?
Her sister knows. That's why she sent her to stay at her house for the summer.
Out the house, right?
Why don't you go stay with Auntie for the summer? I don't want to fumigate my mattress.
Robert say soap, water, deodorant. That's all the talk.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. And see, it's even worse for a young lady. You know what I mean? A young woman. It's like, come on now.
Oh, I don't know if you got men in your house.
Oh, they funky too. Yeah, they funky too. But
this is very similar to the jewelry missing with the other sister niece story we had last week. But this is this is I think a hygiene issue is a little simpler to settle because something's wrong. Right. Either this young lady is not washing her
Dennis is breaking it down.
But, well, go ahead and read it. I'll hold my comment.
Oh man. Bromohydrosis is a disease that occurs when the bacteria on your skin breaks down sweat and produces an abnormally offensive smell similar to onions or sulfur. Bromohydrosis body odor is more pungent and persistent than ordinary BO. Huh.
Well, but if the niece has been to the physician and has that diagnosis, that's a different thing. Now we can figure out how do we handle that. Do we pour perfume on top of that? Do we use shea butters and other lotions and potions to try to disclose that? Is that washing my clothes differently? There's more than likely a difference. Odiferous is odiferous, and clearly at 24. This is something that shouldn't be occurring. And that's easy enough to talk about because that's something medical. We can talk about that day and night. Right. This is something quite different to be 24 years old and to, that's, I'm not going to name call. That's not the intent here. But, to be that young, her hygiene is something she should be careful about, period, from the time you're 10, 11, 12, you learn to start taking care of yourself. So I think it's a conversation for the aunt and the niece. More than likely, the mother and daughter have had this conversation.
Maybe.
And maybe the aunt can have a different, not subtle, but a different, perhaps more gentle approach with her about it. Clearly, something's wrong. And it may be, let's go to the doctor in case, you may find out. No one may know of this bromohydrosis.
Yeah. Right, yeah. That's what Sharon Green she said that she's agreeing with you, saying that perhaps she needs to go get checked,
Right.
Because it could indeed be something medical. It's...
Then the conversation's easier.
Yeah, but you know what? Regardless of whether it's a hygiene thing or if it's a medical issue, she needs to do something about it. And it's like sometimes people really can't smell themselves.
Right. Well, I think Gigi said that if she can't smell it, have her clear passages by inhaling coffee grounds. And Gail says that some religious and cultures do not use deodorants. I had a coworker who didn't use it, and at Secret Santa Christmas party, someone gave her a basket of soaps and other smell goods.
Well, just regular soap sometimes can't attack an odor like that. You need a deodorant soap instead of the little Victoria's Secret kind of soaps.
Or perhaps some vitamins or things, something that will attack it from the inside as well.
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
Because if it's an odor that's coming out of her pores, if it's that strong, that's a little bit more than I didn't wash under my underarms today.
Tracy ain't having none of it. She say spray her.
Right.
You have none of it.
And a nice long bath. Let's
Right.
attack things from the easy and then move toward what's difficult.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because aunt ought to know, just as a mother ought to know, is this child bathing, showering? Is this,
Yeah.
are her showers 2 seconds or are
Yeah.
they 20 minutes? You know,
Right.
it
Yeah. It
so
could be anything. Yeah.
and plus this person has friends, not just a boyfriend. She has girlfriends, and girlfriends
Hmm.
aren't letting her off the hook like that. That's
Yeah.
simple. You
Yeah.
know that
And family members.
somebody's pulled her up.
Yeah. And family members, because
Yeah,
it doesn't say she doesn't say anything about her being unpleasant
Right.
right.
or anything like that.
Perhaps this is just her summer routine. Summertime. I don't really feel like being bothered.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
That ain't good.
Also, if I were the aunt, I would ask my sister, have you had this conversation with her and how
Absolutely.
did it go?
Absolutely.
So that way you kind of have a better feel for how to approach her. But, she needs to be told.
Yeah. Yeah.
The mother needs to hear it, and so does the daughter.
Yeah.
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 Because after a while, it may already be an embarrassment. Because how do you take this person out? How does aunt and niece go to tea? How
You
does
don't.
aunt and niece go shopping? How
You
do you know what
don't.
I mean? Right. That
Lori, I can't see you taking your niece anywhere smelling badly. That's just not happening.
absolutely
You're gonna
not.
leave without her.
No, we're gonna have that discussion if I gotta bathe you, because that's not
Right.
acceptable. And so let's hope that it is something. If it's in the disease realm, then we can move toward a cure. And if it's somebody who just needs to spend time bathing with some good old fashioned Ivory or lye soap, we can.
Now you trying to take a skin off, Lori. Don't kill the poor girl now. But you know what? I know of a situation way back when my brother was working at a newspaper in our hometown. There was a guy on staff, and he had a really bad body odor issue, and he was totally oblivious. Totally oblivious. People would leave soap and deodorant, air freshener on his desk, trying to throw hints at him. And he was just totally oblivious. He's like, oh, somebody lost some, lost some deodorant. It was like, and everybody was looking at him like, don't you get it? Sounds like.
Well, because you know what? By that time, that odor is in your clothes. By
Mm-hmm.
that time, you hear the aunt saying, "We're going to burn the mattress." That odor has become so natural
Yeah,
to
that's
that
pretty
person
bad. Yeah,
that they can't smell it.
yeah, that's pretty bad.
Right.
And that too is the situation. I don't think anybody willingly wants to, walk around smelling, especially so strongly that you're offensive.
Yeah,
And I just wonder if, you know, there are certain materials that an odor can get caught in, and you can't
Right.
wash. It's not coming out. You just got to
Yeah.
get rid of it.
yeah,
And it may be such that this odor is even deeply in this person's clothes, and she has no notion. No matter you wash them, whatever,
mhm.
and that scent. You know how an onion scent lingers? It
Yeah.
just lingers. You've washed your hands 5 times, and if you could still smell that onion. There are so some odors are just that strong, and so she does need help. She needs counsel, not in the psychological kind of way, but somebody has got to bring this to her attention in a
Mm-hmm.
very gentle way, and in gentle but firm,
Mhm.
that says we got to tackle this.
Yeah.
You can't walk around like this, sugar.
Yeah, you remember,
But as
those?
Monique says, come here, Auntie Mo wants to talk to
You remember those polyester shirts we used to get from Flag Brothers and all that? Oh my God, they used to hold.
Oh yeah, every odor.
Oh, they would hold funk.
You
Oh,
couldn't
man.
you couldn't wear those twice.
You could
Yeah.
not get it out. Wash
You,
them.
you couldn't hang that up and wear it
It
again.
was
right,
just,
right. See,
forget
so
about it.
the fabric, yeah.
Oh man.
Mary Lou
Yeah.
says some
Horrible.
people are just dirty and believe that they're allergic to water.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not ruling that one out either.
Yeah. But something is going on.
Yes.
Something else I think is going on with this girl, because if she's making people's eyes water when she walks by, clearly somebody along the way has had to say something to her, or even if it's other girls teasing her or something,
Correct.
and she is just not decided to do anything about that. So I don't know. That's it's a tough one, but it's an easy one.
Juanita says this conversation should be initiated by people who love her and will support her.
Yeah.
The conversation will be painful.
Yeah.
Because at 24, hearing you don't smell well, I hope no one's crass enough to say you stink.
Yeah.
But even in the most gentle of terms, how do you say? Nobody wants to hear you don't smell well, but you need to hear it, because if I smell you, other people smell you.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I need to let you know you got to check something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, with it being summertime, even just say, I bathe twice a day, because it's just so hot and whatnot. And I think this would, be a helpful thing for you to do, because I can tell.
Right.
You need to.
Mm-hmm. Sharon Jones Evans gets the award for Miss Diplomacy.
Right. I wanted to say it.
She keeps coming up with
finding the right words, and maybe somebody could say,
I bathe twice a day. Perhaps you should too.
Yes. Yes.
Here's the soap that I use. Notes. Right.
Dr. Bonner.
It's so hot, and
real quick,
you can make it whatever you want.
Quick, we'll digress just for a second, but real quick, have any of y'all ever had to have a hard conversation like that with anybody that you know, whether it was BO or breath or being drunk all the time?
When you have young men in your life, and I have had a lot of them, they sometimes go through a phase somewhere between 10 and 14 where they just are not interested in bathing. Like, there's so many other things they care about. Lee, you have a son. Right. So two of my cousins came to visit me over the summer. You know how hot DC gets in the summertime.
Yeah.
And we got in the car. They were sitting on opposite sides of my poor little son, and he couldn't breathe. Oh. He was gasping for air. They were sitting on opposite sides of him. And of course, by the time we rode for a little while, I realized that they perhaps did not get in the shower when they went into the bathroom. Wow. So when we got home, I insisted that they take showers. And, the water was running, it appered that, right. But he had other interests, and he came out, dry. And I promised him that I was going to bathe him for him if he didn't get in the shower and actually get under the water.
I know,
with
right?
soap and a rag.
Right, exactly.
Nisi, hey, the truth was that.
So, hey, Nisi. So, I made him get back in the shower, and we did that like all day. I was like, I'm not, but they're, young preteen boys are occupied. Like, then they moved to, I have to take these 2-hour showers. So you had that little window where they just don't care, and then you have $50 water bills. Fortunately, they do get to that, but that I had to have numerous conversations with them over that summer about bathing first.
And it was easier just to take the shower.
Yes, than faking it. Right. It was so much easier, but they have other ideas about what needs to happen during the day, and he's like, okay, I'll hop in, hop out, and go do what I want to do.
I had to tell a young woman to comb her hair. It was hard because she called herself going natural. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Gail says, I'm not getting that she doesn't bathe. It's that she doesn't use deodorant. She would bathe in the morning and go out in 90-degree weather. She's going to sweat and not smell good if she's out in it. Mm. Wow. Or those people who use all of those products but don't bathe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have y'all been following the Hollywood stuff with the not bathing and not using deodorant and all that?
I've heard it. I don't care if they bathe or not.
Oh my God!
I don't care.
I've heard it, but see, again, same thing. Adults, we're not talking kids.
Yeah.
This woman's 24, and the same thing out in Hollywood. I didn't take that to be true, actually, because I really said there's no way.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
This business, absolutely. I read it and said,
they were admitting it. People wasn't necessarily calling them out. They were admitting it. They were like, no. Yeah. Sharon has a point, or Sharon Green has a point. She says a lot of people do take a shower, then put on dirty clothes.
Right.
Yeah. There is that. And and if that stuff, once that odor is hung in your clothes, that's not coming out until it hits the wash cycle.
Yeah.
Unless it's
like Dee was saying earlier, some stuff, it just ain't coming out.
It's not coming out, right? You need to destroy it.
Yeah, it just
Agreed.
clings to it, stuff like that.
Mm,
So,
mm,
well, that
mm,
was good.
mm,
So,
mm.
so the consensus here is that she should have a polite conversation per Miss Jones Evans. Polite conversation. Yes,
Yes.
yes, with her, and as well as talk to her sister, the girl's mother,
Yes.
and and
I'm so sure that's why she sent her over there. Either she sent her to her aunt's because she didn't want to smell her, or she knew her aunt would handle it. We all have a sibling or aunt or grandmom or something that go see grandma because grandma's going to take care of it. I think she anticipated that the auntie was going to say something about it.
yeah,
No, it would have been nice for her to give Auntie a heads up
Oh,
though and say, "Hey,
absolutely.
listen,
yeah,
this is the this is what I'm seeing.
yeah,
Let me know if you're
yeah,
seeing the same thing,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you have my permission. Go all in."
And Manisha makes a good point too, in that a lot of folks, you have to, just like anything else, when you're nurturing a child, you got to teach them good hygiene habits.
Right.
You know what I mean? You just don't assume that they know, where to wash, where to start, where to finish. You know what I
Right.
mean?
And
'Cause-
as Dee
24,
mentioned about
24.
her nephews, maybe they think, I've been to gym class and we just kind of run through the shower. Maybe I don't want to really dig
right.
in and bathe, in front of the other boys. But you have to get the crevices. It's
Yeah.
just that simple.
And,
I mean,
and you know what? One other thing, and this is critical for somebody 24, is be very aware of your body as well. Some people are not sweaters. So some
Mhm.
people can rip and run and it's not an issue. Some people are sweaters and
mhm.
Yeah.
you can run 2 meters and you're dripping and you need to change and it's not going to be pleasant after a while. So I don't know. I'm startled because the young lady is 24.
Right.
That's you're firmly in adulthood right
Right.
now, and
Yeah.
so starting from the beginning is an awful, awful, awful thing that someone should have to have such conversation with you.
Yeah. It's a
But
tough.
With a
clearly,
boyfriend,
it needs to happen.
I'm kind of stuck on that because I don't know a
Yeah,
man that would not say, "Baby,
Sound like
yeah,
he just happened to
you
be.
need to fix that."
Yeah.
right,
Right.
right.
Right. So she has,
Although he may have an old day or two, so ain't no,
well,
Yeah,
perhaps,
you
yeah.
know what I mean.
let's
If they're
hope
both
not.
flower children, and or,
I know.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
good, good. Well, good conversation about that. I guess we'll go to our last VCR for the evening here.
Dear Alma, my brother in law is a minister, but he's also an oblivious, self centered fool. At Christmas, he does things to irritate people, like sitting in my 94-year-old mother's favorite chair and acts hurt when we tell him to get up. Or he goes shopping and is late for the big dinner. I said we shouldn't wait for him, but that's a hard one to enforce. I try not to let it get to me, but part of me says he needs to be told that he is not the center of our universe. My poor sister is constantly making excuses for him. How long should we suck it up, or is it time to finally dish some out?
So the red been cutting up a little bit here, huh?
and
So
an in-law.
yeah, I know, right?
He's an in-law.
Mm.
Clowning.
Yeah.
Right.
Now,
Are
Yeah,
you gonna recap?
they should not wait for him. They should
right.
not wait for him.
Light
Just
him
go
up.
ahead and get things started. Yeah, because he knows that they're going to wait, so he gets to make a
Mhm.
grand entrance.
Mhm.
I'm the right righteous reverend, etc. And all y'all, pay attention and bow down to me. No,
So
I'd be
what?
halfway through with the meal when he walked in.
You know what I'm saying? So why do you think he's cutting up like that?
I don't. I would totally disconnect that he's a minister.
Mhm.
Whatever that is in his personality, whatever that is, some level of arrogance, some level of self-centeredness, all of the above,
Right.
is driving him to do that. And I wish you would have connected more. I mean, it's like saying, you do things and that's a minister. Well, your faith ought to certainly ought to aid you in some things. But this is, I wish I knew the age of this person.
Right.
This is someone's arrogance. This is someone's self-centeredness. Period, and someone used to being catered to. So I will sit in Big Mama's chair.
Yeah.
How dare you? You know that's Big Mama's chair. My chair, sit in it.
Right.
Right.
Big Mama's chair, leave it. Dinner
And then
starts at,
insist that she ask him to give her chair. Like,
yeah, and
where do they
dinner
do
starts.
that?
Yeah, and dinner starts at X time. You're the minister. You would think they're going to ask you to say grace. You might want to be there on time. If this is a set dinner. So this is a person, he needs to check himself. Full stop.
Yeah. Well, Tracy said it sounds like they're enabling him by doing all this waiting around and stuff. And
Absolutely.
yeah, Gigi
And it's
said,
just
run
rude.
him out of
It's
there.
just
It's just
rude.
rude. It's just rude. Run him out of there before he even sits down. And Sharon Green says, uninvited for future dinners. But it sounds to me like he's lording this minister title over everybody, like I'm more important than y'all. So
Right.
y'all need to understand that if I want to do this, it's because I'm this all-powerful minister and y'all supposed to defer to me and
Well, in addition to disrespecting his in-laws, he's disrespecting his wife. This kind of reminds me of the conversation we had about the husband that pulled up the woman's dress. These are her family members. He could treat his own family the way he wants to, but at the very least, he should be respectful of his mother-in-law, whose chair he sits in, and the rest of the family. He should show up and be on time and be respectful and, act like a grown man. He was a man before he was a minister. So I agree with Lori that this isn't new. This is how he's probably behaved since a child. And, let him be, which brings us to adults who show up for dinner when they feel like it and sit in grandma's chair.
just not being a good adult, not adulting well at all. And you have to learn when you're at someone else's house, in-law or not, you're at someone else's house, and there's certain things that, some people don't care. They'll sit wherever you want to sit.
Right.
But when the elders around us, you've noticed, they always sit there. That's their spot. You just out of your own kindness, go pick another chair.
Right.
You don't feel. So that's what I mean. This sense of entitlement, this sense of arrogance may be attached to I'm a minister, therefore, but you usually play that card with other ministers or with your church crowd who's going to buy into that. With your family, you usually just Jim Bob and come along and don't clown. So maybe that's a conversation for the sister. And I mean, clearly is it the niece or the sister-in-law who's clearly upset by it? So, talking to her sister isn't going to change it much, probably not, but to try to borrow from one of Sharon's diplomacy tactics. Come here, brother-in-law. How you doing today? Let's chat. You're welcome here, don't you?
I know. Getting that two-piece, man. So what?
Well, trust me, the sister has more stories to tell. That's not the only place he's being rude in his life.
Oh,
she got more stories to tell.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Something is up with that, but I'm always. I'm surprised that I'm not surprised how people act when they go to other people's houses. Like you were saying, Lori.
Right.
You know what I mean? It years ago, we had some friends that we would kind of do the potluck thing. You know what I mean? And so we would pass it around so nobody would get hurt. Maybe this time D brings all the buns, the hot dog buns and the hamburger buns, enough for like 12 people, and then you bring a fruit salad and Sharon brings, hamburger meat and, is my turn to bring all the sodas and stuff. Well, these folks would walk in with like diet orange soda. Diet orange soda. Now,
you can't mix it with nothing.
Come on. You can't mix it with nothing. And want to sit down and eat their collard greens with diet orange
With
soda.
diet orange soda.
Come
I
on,
bet it
man.
wasn't even cold.
Like, no, it was,
Just a
yeah,
2-liter.
yeah. And so,
Well,
and
I
so
think just etiquette in general seems to have just gone by the wayside. Just something as simple as showing up on time.
yeah,
We see people, more and more people just showing up. If I invite you someplace, I expect you to be on time. You can't stroll in. I bet you the person that bought the diet orange soda probably was late.
yeah, they were late. They all were always late, and usually, if you didn't tell them to bring stuff, they'd show up with nothing but an appetite, and that's another thing.
Well,
too,
if it's an understanding that we're doing potluck, that's one thing, and you inviting me to your home.
Right.
But yeah, if it's potluck, then yes, you should bring you should bring what you're supposed to bring and bring enough of it for everyone. What's he say? Watch out! Don't be talking about me.
I'm taking it back up. Oh no! See, hey,
did we just have that conversation? Did we have a conversation about taking stuff back home?
Stuff back?
I have had people. This is true story. I've had people come to a cookout with a 6-pack of Cokes. Nobody drank all of them. There was like 2 or 3 left, and they took them back. Took them back.
Wow.
It's like, okay.
If I was having people at my house and you brought something that that may sit in my refrigerator forever, I would say,
you're going to
go
offer
ahead.
that. You're going to
say, go
hey,
ahead.
I'm not going to drink these. Take them.
I
You
remember
make that offer.
When I joined the Courier Post, they had a little get together for me at the current editor's house, and you guys remember this Zima.
Yeah, right.
Ugh, yeah, those god awful
right.
coolers.
Supposed to be in coolers, right?
Yes. So somebody bought Zima. I suppose that they were the only person that drank it.
Yeah, right.
And then 2 years later, when I was switching jobs, I was taking the editor's job. She had a little congratulatory party at her house, and that Zima was still in the refrigerator. And she said, "Here, you can have this. This is from when you got here." And I thought, you really don't like Zima. I think it was called Zima. If it's still here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pat says, when you eat at my house, I send leftovers home with you. That is absolutely enough for like a week. Like you can keep for days on the food that she sends home with you.
And see, that's fine.
Makes sense.
That's fine if the host is offering.
Right.
Hey,
well, I don't ever plan to go to anyone's house and take food home.
Yeah.
Some people anticipate that. And, some people carry Ziploc bags and, freezer bags and things with them to events.
My sister-in-law's brother would give a big party. He used to do it, this is pre-pandemic and all that stuff, boy. And I mean, he would lay it out. He'd have like 40, 50, 60, 70 pounds of catfish and ribs and, big giant things of collard greens and potato salad and all that. And when people would go, they would take everything. They would take the bread.
Tupperware bowls.
They would take the light bread, If it was 3 slices left, they're like, I'm taking that too, And he was okay with it. He was okay with it, but it used to burn me up,
I think it's inconsiderate to what Dee said earlier and what Pat said. And I do the same thing. I'm one person, so if I'm going to be stuck with 50 pounds of food, then let me let somebody have it.
Yeah, we need it. Comes over with his mama's Tupperware.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
That is more common than we think. And I know you think at this age that we don't see that, but it is, line in your purse so you can, dump the shrimp in it.
But you know what? The biggest thing and the rudest thing that I see though, and this is usually guys who do this. I used to, have the fights all the time, and guys they'd bring their own poison, to sip on and stuff like that. And it's customary that when you bring booze, for instance, to somebody's house, you just leave what's left, and there were a couple of the guys that would always take whatever they had. It'd be a swallow, and they would take it back with them. And you'd be like, dude,
Well,
really?
is it understood? So, in that environment, is it understood that you will share it?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I bring whatever I bring, and anybody can drink it. You're not holding the bar, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be kind of communal and stuff
right,
like that,
right.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
and so I mean, it's like bring the 6-pack and there's 2 cans left, and you like, I'm taking it.
Yeah,
Dude,
leave the 2 cans.
Yeah.
Well, but okay, so but now we kind of morphed away from what dude is doing. What's the consensus? I think sister-in-law who being irritated about it talks to him, in the Sharon Jones Evans kind of way, try to have the nice one.
Yeah.
But we're gonna draw the line on sitting in Big Mama's chair. Now look.
Yes.
And believe me, he can handle it. He can handle a forthright conversation. And he needs one of those from someone other than his wife, because his wife, he apparently can sweet talk around those kinds of issues. So
well, they're all subjected to this behavior. They could have the conversation at the dinner table.
Yeah,
everyone. Let's have this conversation because everyone's affected by it.
Though there's one person irked by it. Is it a family meeting?
I would imagine that everybody is irked by it.
Okay,
it's just she's writing the letter.
They need to have the clumps.
I would argue that the entire family, they mumble and grumble and they don't want to hurt their sister's feelings, so they don't say anything to her. And she has to go home with them. And I think that, we as family members sometimes keep our comments to ourselves because she's going to have to deal with it on the other end.
Right.
So she's, we'll just be nice because, she has to go home with him and hear his mouth. But,
and because he apparently is somebody arrogant, his antenna can't go up in the air high enough to understand these folks are orderly folks.
Right.
And these folks eat dinner together at X time. Some places, when you get there, fall in, get you something to eat, everybody's fine. But these people are a little more orderly, or they are over there occasionally. It's holiday time. I think, if I recall, did she say it was holiday? Yeah, it was Christmas.
Yeah.
So even that brings with it a little bit more formality, and he's missing it. That's that etiquette thing you guys were talking about a little earlier. He's missing it. He's missing it.
And we're also not hearing. I went to visit the sick and shut in. That's why I'm late. He's showing up late on purpose. Yeah, that's my guess.
No, he visited the sick and shut in at Macy's. That's what it sounds like.
Right. He's going shopping or whatever.
Yeah, he's going shopping and all that kind of stuff. When I was a kid coming up down in Hot Springs, Arkansas, the preacher, not just our preacher, but I just saw preachers really kind of take advantage of people, or take advantage of the situation, and they would kind of get away with murder. They'd come over and eat like they never ate before. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's okay. We want the preacher to come and have dinner, but you ain't got to try to eat up everything, Leave some food for somebody else. I remember my father really getting mad one time because the preacher came over. It was like, dude, come on now. Leave something for somebody else, But I don't know. It's like, it just feels like dude is using that mantle, to get over on everybody. Like, I'm the preacher. Y'all got to wait for me and blah, 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 blah,
Well, they did wait. They waited at least once, so he knows that they'll continue to wait.
It worked.
It
right?
worked.
It
and
worked.
Again, his wife hasn't said anything about it. And apparently she's showing up by herself. She's showing up alone, and then he's showing up when he feels like it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which in itself is unacceptable.
Then she has said something, and she's like, I know how my family rolls. I'll be there. He knows how her family rolls too, and is either doesn't want to go, all right, but sister didn't go that far, so no need for us to interject that. There's a lot. There's I think Sharon said it earlier. There's a lot more going on. Sister's got more she wants to say.
Absolutely.
I think I'm most bothered by the disrespect towards his mother-in-law.
Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm gonna sit in your chair and wait for you to ask me to get up. I think that's what she mentioned in the letter. She said, he won't get up until she says something.
And then feign like he's hurt.
Well, I have 8 uncles. He'd have bent to sit in the chair, but he'd have never got in it.
Right, exactly. I think somebody said that early on that he get kicked out before he got a chance to sit down.
He would have never got the opportunity to actually sit down.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
And at 94, she should never have to ask that question.
Mm-mm.
no.
Mm-mm.
No, absolutely not.
And
Well,
so that's either the arrogance or the tenure or both of him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And he probably comes empty-handed.
yeah. Of course he does. Of course he does.
He's not bringing anything to the table.
Yeah.
Whatever the wife brings is coming from the family. But can he handle it better? Should he handle it better? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I'm certain the wife has brought it up and it's not making its way through to him. Thus, when you're sitting around with the family trying to figure out what we're going to talk about at the table, you just became the subject.
I wonder, Lori, if she has said anything. She has to live with him. So I wonder if she's just accepting this as a behavior. He doesn't do this just at his mother-in-law's house. This is something that goes on in his house.
This is September, and she's talking about a Christmas dinner. This has been kind of boiling in her car for
a minute, and she's anticipating next
excellent point.
that he wrote the first letter that we had this evening. He didn't get no invite. There's a reason why.
Webb says he comes empty-handed or with a Diet Orange soda.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would say that the wife probably is either just exhausted by the behavior and hasn't said anything, or just has decided that maybe her family will step in and say something, which they haven't done, which is probably disappointing for her. Because she said, maybe one of them, I know my sister's going to say something, and waiting for that to happen so she doesn't have to be the bad guy.
Yeah. Hey, well, let me ask y'all this. We got a few more minutes here.
Quickly, what are we telling the caller? What's the writer tell him?
Yeah, absolutely. Somebody has to speak up and have a conversation with this fellow, whether it's a family meeting or an individual meeting, but somebody has to put him on the spot and say, look, you got to stop doing this. Enough. So, speaking of family dinners and get-togethers and stuff like that, the country, it's unclear what Christmas is going to look like. It's unclear what Thanksgiving is going to look like, given the speed and the efficiency of this dang Delta variant out there. So what is your advice? I'm putting y'all on the spot. What's your advice, real quick, for people who are starting to plan Thanksgiving dinners, big Thanksgiving dinners and Christmas dinners? I mean, is now not the time to be doing that? Can we do it kind of, sort of? I mean, what do you feel? What do you feel about that?
Well, maybe there could be, most folks are off at Thanksgiving and Christmas. So maybe you could have a small dinner on Tuesday, a smaller one on Wednesday, something like that, kind of rotated out.
Well, it's not so
that you won't have, 30, 40 people in your house at one time. That's a no.
My mother is 83.
Yeah, you can't play.
My brother can come in.
Yeah.
And my son can come in after he's quarantined for 14 days. But other than that, we want to continue to have turkey for as long as, she's supposed to be here to have turkey. So we're not playing around with that.
Yeah.
And I respect that other families want to get together. I want to know who they are so they don't end up in my space near my mom.
Exactly.
I think we follow the same thing we had to do last Christmas and last Thanksgiving. It is our immediate family and maybe one or two more who have been vaccinated. Hint, hint, I'm headed to the Ivories. Because I missed
the invite.
All of
you talking on Facebook?
I know, right? No pictures.
I've missed for the last couple of years all of the big family events. For that reason, one, I'd have to travel. I was going around elders, and then the third thing, the 20, 30 people, which is the part of it that I love. I love rolling deep and seeing all family at one time. But last 2 years, I think I had to grind it out. I did Thanksgiving and Christmas right here in this house by myself. Yeah, because the vaccine wasn't around then.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, right.
even though there's a vaccine with this Delta variant, we won't have to worry about somebody sitting in Big Mama's chair this year. Because guess what?
You'll be in it.
There you go.
It'll be
Big-
just us, and we know
Alright.
where everybody sits.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, or
there
maybe
you have
even
it.
do, a dinner and then, have a big Zoom thing with some of the folks that
Right.
can't come or would have been there, and everybody cook something in their own home. You have a big Zoom dinner.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Well, there you have it. We're out of time, good people. Thank you, all of the viewers out there for tuning in and indulging us and sending great and humorous and informative text messages. Thank you so much. And thank you to my esteemed panel tonight. You guys did an awesome job.
Thank
You
you.
Always
did a
a
great
pleasure.
job hosting, Lee.
Oh, thank you. It's always a pleasure and an absolute honor to be
And
on
I
here.
and I hope Robert's prediction is not true.
The sweet one. I'm getting ready to call him too. So,
Thank you.
y'all.
Good night.
All right.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.